What's going on, everyone? Some reports came out that Luke Kornet could be a realistic target for the Los Angeles Lakers, whether it's a starter or a backup role. Lakers need multiple big men. Based on reports, Lakers are actively after two big men, right? You need that clear-cut starting center, and then you need a clear-cut backup, right? Hopefully somebody that has some experience, right? I don't mind having that kind of flyer guy or like the development guy or whatever, right? Nothing wrong with that, but you need that to kind of be more of your third big. Ideally, if we're trying to contend and compete for championships, I think you need that clear-cut starter, and then you need that clear-cut backup. Luke Kornet is a guy that can slot in, play that role. He's 29 years old. He'll be 30 in about a month and a half. July 19th is when July 15th is when he'll be 30 years old. So he's still young enough to be a quality player. He was really good for the Boston Celtics. Boston is kind of in that weird position to where, like, what direction are they going to go? A lot of talks about them kind of selling everything off. They're kind of having like this, gap year, because Jason Tatum's going to miss likely all of next season. And a guy like Luke Kornet should be cheap. He's coming off of a vet minimum, $2.8 million contract as an unrestricted free agent. And a guy that, again, makes some sense. He's got some size, which is something that the Lakers really need, right? He's not a guy that's, 215 pounds. You're talking about a guy that's, 7'1", 250, that can, be a high energy, high effort guy. I'd imagine the Boston Celtics would want to kind of keep him around if they can. It's very possible that, they might. But, you could look at a team like the Lakers and go, hey, I might get more opportunity. I might get more playing time. I might get more minutes. Right, you look at last year, he averaged 6 points and 6 rebounds with 2 assists and a 67% field goal percentage. Again, 7'1", 250 pounds. So he's a guy that's not, that's got some size. And again, he's more of a motor energy type of guy. He's got some athleticism, right? He's a guy that I could see making some sense for the Los Angeles Lakers, especially on kind of the cheap end. A guy that can come in, give you some experience, a guy that, can play a role, do multiple things out there on the basketball court. Now, I don't like him as our starting center personally. I'm fine with it. Like, if you wanted him to be your primary backup and on, a random night, any given night, he is starting, then fine, right? If you were to go get, a Nick Claxton or something like that, right? And then, Luke Kornet's the guy that's coming off the bench for you. Claxton gets the night off and he's starting, then so be it. But to bring him in as like your main starter, I'm not really personally sold on that. I know I've seen some people, in the comment section and whatnot throw out like, hey, Luke Kornet, he would be great, he'd be solid. Again, I'm all for him. Bring him on. The Lakers can sign him and bring him on board, especially on a cheap deal, on a vet minimum deal. Absolutely. To me, that's a no-brainer, especially even if he's just giving you 6 and 6 off the bench in a limited role, limited minutes, that would be fine. But if you're asking him to come in and play, 30 minutes a night, personally for me, I just don't think that's ideal. I think he's great in that, 15 to 20 minute role, high energy, high effort. If you need him on a random night to give you 25 to 30 minutes, you can look for him to do that. Again, a guy that, you know what he's going to bring you, right? On top of that, you got Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves, who are really going to help set him up, put him in a position, to continue to have success and thrive, whether it's, being that lob threat or operating the pick and roll, and then him just being able to go get you second chance opportunities, kick out. Again, he's a hustle guy, right? He's a guy that knows his role, plays his role well, can come in and kind of provide that relief for the Lakers, which is, in my opinion, again, the ideal role for the Lakers. But you look at last year for the Boston Celtics, 73 games played, 16 games started, which, again, something like that would be perfect. Give me, 70 to 75 games, ideally if you could play all 82. But, if you give me 70, 75 games, start, 15 to 20 of those games. Because, again, guys getting the night off or whatnot, right? Or, just whatever, a little nagging injury thing or whatever, right? Like, perfect. But he averaged 18.6 minutes per game. Took 3.8 field goal attempts per game, 66.8% from the floor. Again, not a guy that's going to stretch the floor. He's not a, shooting big man, shooting three. He has taken, the occasional attempt here and there, but he's more at the rim, high energy, high effort. He's going to be that lob threat type of guy. But Again, 3.8 attempts, 67.5% EF, 2-point percentage, 66.8% EFG. Free throw shooting, he is a career 77% free throw shooter. Last year, he was 70% or 69% on 1.3 attempts. He averaged 5.3 rebounds, 2 assists, half a steal, a block, and 6 points per game. Now, if you look at his per 36, now per 36 doesn't tell you everything, but essentially gives you an idea of like, okay, if he was to play in like a starting role, starting minutes, right, or play a significant role for Lakers, what type of production could he give you? Well, he would be a 12 point, 10 rebound, 3 assist, 1 steal, and 2 block per game guy per 36 minutes. Now, here's the thing. Again, per 36 doesn't tell you everything. Now, on the surface, you're looking at it as like, Tyler, he's a 12 and 10 guy with 2 blocks, a steal, and 3 assists, right? Like, what are you talking about? Have that guy be your starter. But a great example is a guy like Taurean Prince, right? Taurean Prince, when he played under 15 minutes, he was one of the best like production players for the Lakers. As soon as he played over that 15 minutes, he was one of the worst production players for the Lakers, right? Because again, he was one of those like, you see guys, Jackson Hayes, another great example, right? Jackson Hayes was great in, limited dosage, right? But as soon as he started to have to play a significant moment and significant role, and the longer he was out there, the more you started to see the cracks, the more things started to really take shape, right? And that's kind of my concern with Luke Kornet, is like he's a guy that I think would be really good in a backup role. I mean, for his career, he's only averaged 15 minutes per game. So to go from, the most minutes he's ever averaged in a season was the 18.6 minutes he played with Boston last year, right? Before that, it was his second year with the Knicks in which he averaged 17 minutes per game, right? So again, to take a guy who, for the last 10 years, or I think it's like 9 years, but basically a guy that near a decade, right? Like go take him from like, hey, you're always going to play a backup role and average 18 minutes a night. And this is he's giving you this consistent production on a regular basis when he plays that role. To now take that and, put more on his plate. Could it pay off? Sure. It's always possible. You never know. But realistically, I'd rather he knows his role, he understands his role, plays his role very well, right? If he came in off the bench and was a 6-6 guy for us, right, in a backup role, giving us, 15 to 18 minutes a night, it's perfect, right? Again, not everyone's going to be a superstar, not everyone's going to average 20 a night, right? Like, but he's also a guy that on occasion go get you, that 15-point game and grab, 12 rebounds and, and again, on any given night, you might need him in a pinch and have him play a big role. Or, again, we'll just use Nick Claxton as an example. Nick Claxton gets into foul trouble or something, man, and now you're relying more on Luke Kornet, right? So, again, I'm all for you bringing him on. You can make an argument he might be one of the better options in a backup role for the Lakers, right? He's a guy that, again, is a veteran, has experience, kind of been there, done that. Knows his role, plays his role well, right? He's not gonna go outside of his box, outside of his realm. He fits that need. He's got good weight, good size, good height behind him, right? Talk about a true 7-footer, 250 pounds. So he's got that size on the interior, hustle, energy guy, can be that lob threat, operate in the pick and roll alongside a Luka Doncic, a LeBron James, or an Austin Reeves, right? Like he checks off a lot of boxes, right? Particularly in that backup role. Now, again, I am somebody that would kind of like, little diversity in the center rotation as far as like different skills. I've talked about like give me the skilled big, give me the, sizable physical interior big, and then give me the floor runner, high flyer, athletic type of big, right? But I think Luke Kornet is a guy that kind of falls into the role that we need, right? Give you that high energy, high effort, play his role, know his role. Not going to go outside of the box here a little bit and try to get fancy and cute, right? He's a guy that, hey, I built a career playing this way, playing within the margins here, giving you, 6 and 6, right? That's what I'm going to bring you. That's what you're going to get. Maybe he goes and is a 10 and 6 guy off the bench because again, you're playing alongside a guy like Luka who's going to be setting you up every night. To think that, a guy that Luka's not going to account for an extra bucket or two for any centers that we get, I think is just silly, right? So if you have a starting center that averages, like Nick Claxton, 10 points a game, to think he won't be a 14-point-a-game guy, I think is a little silly. Now, it's possible he is it, right? But, because different role and whatnot. But I think it's unrealistic that he gets 2 more buckets because he's playing alongside Luka. I think is silly. Same thing with the Luke Kornet, right? To think that a guy that, giving you 6 and 6 for his career, that he's not going to be able to come in and give you 10, 10 and 6, right? Because again, he's slotted alongside Luka and he's just getting fed lobs all game. I think it's a little silly. So again, I love the idea of Luke Kornet, but has to be the right price and not in a starting role. I'd prefer him in a backup role. But those are my opinions. As always, pass a question on you. Let me know yours down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.